right, this is part 2 of lesson 9.4. In the previous part 1, I went over examples 1, 2, and 3 with you, helping you find A, B, and P for percent. I'm going to start this video with example 4 on page 466, and I have left the percent equation up here. And as a reminder, I am going to solve all of these using percent equation, but you can use the proportion if you prefer. Okay, example 4 says, a shoe salesperson sells a pair of shoes for $60. For $60. The salesperson receives a 9% commission on the sale. How much is the commission? Let me stop for a second and explain commission. Commission is what a salesperson receives when they make a sale. So usually you see it in larger purchases like a car salesman or someone selling a house, a real estate agent. But it's a percentage of the price of the item sold, and it goes to the seller. So some employees of stores, like my son works for Best Buy, so he sells computers and laptops all day when he's there, but he does not receive commission. He receives an hourly wage that doesn't change based on his sales, okay? But in this shoe store, the person probably gets a lower hourly rate, and then every time they make a sale, they get a percentage of the money. So in this case, this salesperson receives 9% off of any sale of shoes in the store. This pair happens to be $60. So how much money did they make if they got 9% of the $60? So the question we're answering is, what is 9% of $60? What part of $60, A, what is 9%, and I'm going to go ahead and change it to a decimal, of $60, okay? So again, as a reminder, remember that you need to show your work as I have done there on the screen, and into my calculator I'm typing 0.9 times 60, and they make $54, okay? Now, remember what I said to you at the end of part 1 video. Make sure that your answer makes sense, okay? So a salesperson receives 9%, that's not even 10%, okay, of the sale of shoes, in this case $60. So does it make sense that $54 would be 9% of $60? It's almost $60. So that's not 9%, it's actually 90%. Can you see the mistake, where I made my mistake in the calculation? Look there. Look, think about what the question is asking. What is 9%, and what did I do wrong? This 0.9 as a percent would be 90% because it's 90 hundredths, okay? To change 9% to a decimal, I have to move it 2 places. It is a percent, so let me remind you of Dr. Pepper. So the decimal point is here. I'm going 2 places back to the left, okay? So 9% is 0.09. So I'm going to erase my decimal point and do it this way. A lot of review in there on changing percents to decimals. Okay, something happened. I hope I'm back now. But we reviewed changing percents to decimals. Remember when we started, I said, and see, I showed my work here, which is good for the teacher. If I wasn't the teacher and I'm looking at the original work, I would say, oh, I see where their mistake is. They just put 0.9 instead of 0.09, okay? So just a lot of things in there. But the answer, 9% of $60. is, oh, by the way, when you redo the math in the calculator and do 0.09 times 60, you still get 54, but with a decimal point right here. So they would receive $5.40. All right, let me clear this one off. And we'll look at some guided practice at the bottom of page 466. Okay, let's look at number 5. It says 50 is what percent of 250? So I'm solving for P. What percent of, is my key, so I'm going to say of 250, and I know that the small part is 50. So this is the equation I'm solving for, okay? And I'm remembering that these two are multiplied together, so I'm going to divide both sides by 250. And when I type 50 divided by 250 into the calculator, I will get 0.2, which is a decimal that needs to be converted to 20%. Okay. Real quickly, let's do 6. 130 is 65%, and I'm changing it to a decimal, of what number? We don't know the whole, so I'm going to divide again. And 130 divided by 65 is 200. So hopefully you worked those out on your own and then checked your answer based on what I did. I'm going through them quickly so I have time to look at some of your homework. But let's do number 7 as well. A clothing salesperson sells a suit for $350. And they receive 8%, and I'm going to remember from last time that's actually 0.08. And what part, or what is the number that is 8% of 350? So here's what I'm solving. So into my calculator, I would just hit 0.08 times 350, and you will get, if you want to pause it before I say the answer, it is $28. Okay? Now, what I want to do with the remainder of my time is look at some of your homework problems that might cause you some problems. Okay, for those of you that sat with me through both of these videos, I'm actually going to go over number 37, which in RenWeb you'll see that I've taught you everything you need to know and reminding you of the steps, but since you're here listening to this video, I will go through it with you. It says Kayla's weekly salary is 120% of her sister Cicely, her weekly salary. The total of their salaries is $165 together. That's what they make. So what is Cicely's weekly salary? All right, so let's walk through this. Kayla's weekly salary is 120% of the weekly salary of her sister Cicely. All right, so together, Cicely, we don't know Cicely's, so I'm going to just give it a variable, and I'm going to use a C since we haven't been using C. So Cicely's salary plus 120% of that, so I'm going to change 120% to the decimal 1.2. Look back at a previous lesson if you're having trouble with that part. Plus 1.2 times Cicely's salary, okay, equals 165. Okay, so first, going back to a previous chapter, I need to combine like terms. We know that this is a 1C, so I'm actually going to have 2.2C equals 165, okay? Now I divide both sides by 2.2, which is my coefficient. Little review word there. Get to my calculator. 165 divided by 2.2 equals $75, and that is C. And what did C stand for? Cicely's weekly salary, and that is the answer. All right, I will leave that there. You can hit rewind if you need to listen to it again. What I would like to do for the remainder, I think I have about 5 minutes left here, is tell you that you do have a quiz on the first 4 lessons in Chapter 9 tomorrow on Wednesday. Yes? Okay. I was checking my RenWeb. So, what I would recommend is if you have some extra time before you take the quiz on Wednesday, to take the quiz on page 470. So I'm going to now, because I don't have a lot of time, just give you the answers to that quiz, because you will not find them in your book anywhere. And so if you want to pause it and come back later, if you want to just jot down the answers, if you want to take a picture, I'll leave all of the answers on the screen all the way to number 9. And then if you want to take a snapshot of the video, you'll have the answers and you can check later. All right. So the first 4 are just reviewing changing percents to fractions and then fractions to percents. So, excuse me, to change 18% to a fraction, you would need to remember that it's 18% per 100, and then simplify that, and the answer would be 9/50. I am going to erase this so I can keep all 9 answers up here. Let me clear this off too. All right, so the answer to number 1, reduced, is 9/50. Number 2, same thing, 74 over 100 reduced becomes 37/50. Number 3 already is a fraction, so you have to convert it to per 100%, okay? And you do that by multiplying both the numerator and the denominator by 5, and you should get 85%. Number 4, same process as number 3, and you should get 48%. Number 5 is different. It says use proportion. I would use proportion, but you can use percent equation if you want. But what number is 82% of 50? You should get 41. For number 6, 11 is 22% of what number? So you're solving for B, and you should get that B equals 50. Number 7, it says use the percent equation. You use what you like. 82 is 205% of what number? That's 40. And let me just say on that one, when you have to convert 200, if you use the percent equation and you say 82 is 205% of what number? Remember that in converting a number over 100 to a decimal, you're going to only go back 2 places. So it would be 2.05b. That's what you're going to divide 82 by. Okay. Number 8 is 56%. And then the last one is a word problem. Number 9, it says, well, I'll let you read the question, but the answer you should get, how many votes did Joshua receive? 18 votes. And how many votes did Kathy receive? You should get 22 votes. Now, if I have time, I will go over that. But I only have a minute left, so I'm going to let you work on 9 by yourself. If you get really stuck and need me to help you, send me an email and I can help you on that. All right, so hopefully that helps.